Hello there and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. I'm the RNGenius, Eric, and in the last episode we got ready to take off on Train to Heimdallr. But I found out that we're not ready. This is a new recording session and it's been a week since I last played. And apparently I missed a book in the North Highlands, and thus it should show up at Mict's. And if it doesn't, I'm supposed to go out and go back in and check his curios. No book. And apparently if I do this, it'll show up at one point, which is garbage because I don't know why I have to leave and re-enter every time to be able to find what the heck? Why? What? Alright, fine. I guess I missed part 7. For 4,000 Mira? You don't want to be missing any books, do you? Heesh. And recipes and so on. I think I just missed the book, but I'm gonna check, like... I don't want to do this 5 times every time I come back to Trista, though. It's not cool, Mict. It's not cool why you do this. Please find a different way to do this, please. I guess that's how it's gonna be, and those don't change. Those have been the same 3 for the entirety of this game since the very beginning. Well, fine. We did get Chapter 7 of Red Moon Rose, though, which is something I'm gonna read through in a second. Anything else I wanted to say? Someone raised a very interesting question in the comments section. And they were asking about what the difference between normal orbally powered robots and archaisms is. And in my opinion, I mean, they're basically the same thing. Archaisms are basically robots, and they were well crafted by the, from what I can tell from this point, they were manufactured first by the ancient Zemurian civilization, and they have begun being manufactured again nowadays. First of all by the Society for Roboros and the 13 factories, because we've had to fight archaisms from those assholes before. And then probably the major companies here, like the Reinfort company and the Vern company, are also going to start manufacturing them soon enough. Or maybe they're already doing so. But they're definitely fiddling around with them, otherwise our little friend the White Rabbit, Milliam Orion, wouldn't have a toy to call her friend, Ergatlam. That's an archaism as well. So the quote-unquote good guys, I mean, they're not really, I don't understand yet, but what I would call good guys are also using them. So there's got to be people being able to manufacture or at least fiddle around with them on both sides of the front. Well, apart from that, I don't remember much I wanted to ask. I think we're just about ready to go into the train station right after I read through this chapter. Okay, 35 pages this time, maybe 37 maybe? 22, that's short. Parting of the ways. I have no further need of your assistance. His mind still reeling from the skill that Rose had demonstrated in her earlier battle. The only way he could react to her words was with a dumbfounded silence. There were plenty of ways he could have argued back, not least by pointing out that they had yet to discover the vampire's identity, and that the reason she had originally agreed that they work together was so that he could use his position in the army to aid her in doing so. As if reading his mind, she said, "I discovered the identity of the vampire this afternoon. As such, there is no longer anything you can do to help me." His initial reaction was doubt. How could she have possibly been the only one to discover the vampire's identity when they had conducted their investigation together? But then it hit him. They hadn't always been together. They had split up to investigate a wider area today, too, and she had discovered a vital clue during a period where they were acting separately. It made perfect sense that only she would have worked out the truth. He tried again, but still, I have my reasons for wanting to see this through to the end, too. I can't go just back to living as if none of this ever happened. Rose knew this already, of course. He had told her about his parents' murder once again, and made her realize that the two cases might be connected. She sighed, her reaction making it perfectly clear that pointing that out would do nothing to change her mind. She met his eyes again, unwavering in the slightest, as she said, "Then allow me to put my position to you more bluntly. You are not a help. You're a hindrance." It was as if a sharp blade had pierced his chest. Her words left him shocked and speechless. She continued, "I would have thought that anyone who looked around would be able to realize that this is not a matter that ordinary people can or should involve themselves in." As she spoke, she gestured in the directions of the ghouls, or rather human corpses that were once ghouls, littering the surrounding area. Some were riddled with bullet holes, some had smashed skulls, some had no heads at all. Her words caused Alphonse's memory to return once again to the battle he had witnessed. Even if he had tried to intervene earlier than he did, would he have been able to do anything? No, on the contrary, it was easy to imagine him getting into Rose's way, becoming a liability and interfering with her ability to fight. Alphonse looked down at the ground dejectedly. It was galling to hear and realize that he might be useless in this. Rose opened her mouth to continue, her gaze somewhat distant. "A long time ago I tried to pursue another vampire with the help of a civilian just like you. I was hesitant at first, but after he insisted so vehemently, I eventually accepted." Alphonse looked up, stunned at what he was hearing. He had assumed that he was the first person to offer to assist her. "He was killed by the vampire we were pursuing. After that, the vampire disappeared, never to be seen again." It was clear by the pain in her voice that for someone whose life revolved around killing vampires, there could have been no worse outcome. "Out of all the jobs I've undertaken, that was my worst failure, and the most terrible stain on my record. I will not allow something like that to happen again. As such, I've always tried to keep you at arms. As such, I have always tried to keep you at arm's length. All I wanted from you was for you to make it easier for me to conduct my investigation and find out what I wanted to know. I was just using you all along." She continued on, telling him that everything had gone the way she hoped it would, perhaps even better. Thanks to his contribution, she had been able to discover the identity of the vampire, and the army was able to find out what it looked like, helping them to keep people off the streets and allowing her to successfully lure the vampire out. For that, at the very least, she was grateful. Alphonse could only stand and listen as her cold words washed over him, the meaning of what she was actually saying not truly sinking in. She fell silent for a moment and took a deep breath before starting again. "The worlds we live in are just too different. We should never have met, and yet by coincidence we did. But that's all. Now you need to forget that it ever happened and go back to the life you should have always lived. Besides, as a vampire hunter, the only life for me is one of solitude." She gave a small, self-deprecating smile before turning to walk away from him. Seeing that smile and hearing what she said, something struck Alphonse as of. Something struck Alphonse as off, and yet he could not call out to her. It was as if there was an impenetrable wall between them now, stopping him from interacting any further with her. I can take care of everything by myself now. All I ask of you is to stay away and let me do it. Farewell." She said her final words as she walked, without so much as turning to face him, and then disappeared into the dark night. Left behind, Alphonse stood alone, frozen to the spot in a sea of blood. The next day, 10 identified bodies were discovered in Heimdallr and the surrounding area filled with disorder, the likes of which had never been seen before. Numerous soldiers moved to and fro, surveying the area under Gerard's direction, while crowds of curious onlookers tried to get a closer look at the gruesome display. Even Alphonse, who had been removed from the main investigation team, had been called in to assist this time. Alphonse had expected the bodies to be heavily disfigured from Rose's attacks, but when he reached the scene, he could see no evidence whatsoever that the previous night's battle had even taken place. The only damage to the bodies were the bite marks left by the vampire. At first, that fact confused him, but then he remembered that Rose was somehow connected to the church. It seemed quite possible that that she would have worked alongside others, one or more One or more, or what? It seemed quite possible then that she would have worked alongside others. One or more who may have arrived later to disguise any evidence in their involvement. After all, the church had the ability to purify weapons to allow them to contend with vampires. The possibility that they might also be able to put corpses back together was hardly a stretch at all, after all the things he had already witnessed. Realizing how ludicrous that would sound to the average person, he could only laugh to himself under his breath. There was no sign of Rose at the scene, although Alphonse hadn't really expected that she would appear to begin with. She had made it clear the previous night that their original arrangement was over. Most likely Rose would go to bring an end to the vampire murders herself in secret, with the culprit never apprehended and the fact that vampires actually existed never being revealed to the world. But could he live with everything ending that way? There was only one burning doubt in Alphonse's heart, a lingering unease that refused to go away, the impression on her face as she turned to walk away. As a vampire hunter, the only life for me is one of solitude. That may have been what she said, but the sad smile on her lips when she did so told a very different story. Coldness underlined with resignation. Her words had been blunt, but to Alphonse they also seemed tinged with loneliness. Alphonse found himself reflecting on what loneliness meant to him. It was a feeling he was all too familiar with after losing his parents. In the blink of an eye, he had been left with no one who cared for him, no one who would be kind to him, no one who would look out for him. It was easy to imagine how being placed in a situation like that would gradually eat away at a person. Fortunately for Alphonse, his father's friend Gerard had held out a hand of salvation to him, and he had later met others like Luca who cared for him, and he for them. It was thanks to them that he was able to free himself of the loneliness that may have otherwise consumed him. Nonetheless, the experience had taught him exactly how painful living like that could be, and that humans could not completely live alone. Rose, however, had said that living in solitude was the only life for her. But did she honestly mean that, or did she really long to break free from it, yet something was stopping her from doing so? With the memory of his own experience still painful after all those years, Alphonse couldn't stop wondering. That was when he made up his mind. He wouldn't just leave things as they were. Rose may have cast him aside, but he had long ago decided what he needed to do to put the past behind him. No matter how much danger he risked doing it, or how much she tried to stop him, he was determined to see it through to the end. If that meant he might be a hindrance to her, so be it. This was his fight as much as hers. Alphonse shook his head furiously from side to side, as if to divest himself of the doubts and hesitations that had been filling his mind since the previous night. Focusing on the task at hand, he set about frantically investigating the area. That, he felt, was the only way for him to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with her. Time dragged on as the search continued, and the receding rays of the setting sun began to blanket the scene in warm apricot hues. The 10 corpses had been carried away, and the vast majority of onlookers had dispersed. The large numbers of soldiers who formed the investigation team had also reached a stopping point in their investigation and were ready to return for the day. But Alphonse waved them off, still silently combing the area for clues. "Come on now, it's time to go back to the guardhouse for the day." The concern on Gerard's voice was obvious, but Alphonse only spared him a tired smile. "Sorry, sir. Just let me look around a bit longer." Considering the intense battle fought between Rose and the vampire the previous night, there was every chance that something may have been left behind that might help guide him toward the area of vampire's identity. The investigation team had found no such thing despite spending the entire day looking. But that did nothing to dampen Alphonse's spirits. There was something here. He knew it. Seeing Alphonse's determination, Gerard couldn't help but smile in return. "All right then, have it your way. Just make sure you stop and come back if you get too tired." And with a backwards wave, he walked off to join the other soldiers as they returned to the guardhouse. Silently thanking Gerard for his kindness, Alphonse went back to scouring the alley. Another half hour passed while Alphonse methodically swept his eyes over every nook and cranny. As the light from the dipping sun retreated from the sky, he began to fear his time was up. But just then his eyes were drawn to a point between two of the buildings. It was a narrow gap overlooked in the investigation, where something might have fallen. Indeed, he spied the barest of shapes on the ground. Upon spotting it, Alphonse remembered seeing something fly from the vampire when Rose had launched her... Something fly from the vampire when Rose had landed her glancing slash on its chest. He crouched down to inspect the space. The gap between the buildings was so narrow that his arm could barely fit inside. He stretched out his fingers, desperately trying to reach the fallen object, and eventually managed to catch it between his index and middle finger. It was a narrow, rectangular piece of cloth. Alphonse stared at it, analyzing every last detail of its surface. It was filthy grey in color, most likely meaning that it had been white originally. It was also clear that it had been separated from something by Rose's sword, but other than that, it looked like any ordinary piece of cloth. It would have been nothing of interest at all to anyone just passing by. Anyone other than Alphonse, that is. Looking at it, he finally understood everything. The reason Rose had suddenly chosen to part ways with him, and the true identity of the vampire who was terrorizing the city. Alright. Alright. And that's enough lecturing for now, or enough literature for now. Doesn't have anything to do with lecturing or being lectured. We already cooked up everything we wanted to, is that right? Probably did. Now we have Elliot in our team. Everybody's equipped. Markias joins the group. Tactics are done. Alright. Nothing left to do except for going to Trista Station. I hope. Oh, you're all here. Ready to take off? Ready as we'll ever be. Alright, let's get our tickets at the counter then. Well, the capital's only half an hour west, so at least the fare should be cheap. Who else is here? You guys. Everybody, basically. Sometimes I think Melissa forgets that I'm the one who goes out and brings home the Mira. Her life wouldn't be nearly as comfortable if it weren't for me. Sometimes I think Melissa forgets that I'm important. It's finally time for us to set off to Heimdallr. We'll be at the same location this time, so get in touch if anything happens, okay? Yeah, it might be best to keep each other updated just in case. My apologies for concerning all of you. We'll be at the same location this time, so get in touch if anything happens. What? I'm not sure if I'll be much help, but it's always worth a shot. I'm sorry. Very sorry about that. Good morning, Fee. Did you sleep well last night? It was okay, I guess. I see. This month's field study should prove different from usual since both groups are being sent to the same city. Feel free to give us a call if you need anything, Laura. We may be in different groups this month, but we can still help. Thank you, and be sure to let us know if there's anything you need our help with. Looks like she's got a good handle on how to manage the awkwardness going on between those two. Don't hesitate to give us a call if anything happens. We may be in different groups this month, but we will be in the same city, so we're always ready to lend a helping hand. Heimdallr sits at the very core of this country, geographically and politically. Seems like there's no better place to learn about the Empire. Yeah, you should be able to learn plenty while we're there. I grew up there, but I feel like going for a field study will let me see it from a whole new perspective. That certainly seems possible. Well, at any rate, we'd better brace ourselves. You never know what'll happen on these field studies. Good luck with Laura and Fee, by the way. I trust you'll help them along while we're out there. I'll do what I can, at least. So, they've decided to send us straight to Heimdallr for our next field study. Considering the size of the city, I can see our task being especially bothersome this time. I'm sure it'll be difficult, but do try to refrain from being an insufferable know-it-all while on your home turf. I dare you say that again! Calm down, you two! At any rate, it sounds as though this field study will be even more challenging than most. You sure you've made ample preparations before we leave? I mean, there's ample as they're ever gonna get. I guess. Good morning, everyone. Let me guess, you're headed for Heimdallr this month? That's right. We'd like 5 tickets to Heimdallr, please. Coming right up. You know the Capital Summer Festival's coming up in just 2 days. I'm sure lots of people will be streaming into the capital to celebrate, so be careful out there. We will, don't worry. I'm used to dealing with it. Buy tickets. Okay, that's 5 passengers headed to Heimdallr. I'll have those tickets for you in just a moment. Nod, yeah, you can go. Yeah. No, you can't. You're not a woman. Wait, that's not how we operate here. You can go. Go through, all right? The footsteps noise is my only complaint in this game. Passengers service bound for Heimdallr, now arriving on platform 2. We ask that all passengers wishing to board please wait on the platform until the train has come to a complete stop. Well, at least we won't be waiting long. There's a train to Heimdallr every half hour after all. So we're really headed to the capital. I've been there a few times before, but it's still pretty unfamiliar territory. I've been twice before on family business. Same here. I know where Elise's academy is, but that's about it. Not to worry, I'll explain more about the city on the way over. It's a pretty big city, though. I'm not even sure where to start. Weirdest noise ever. Almost as weird as a trillion footsteps at the same time. They're actually sitting in their assigned groups. I find that to be pretty funny. I don't even know. Alright, not too much longer till we arrive, so let me give you a quick overview. Heimdallr is, among many other things, the capital of this country, which means it's the home of the reigning emperor, His Majesty Eugent Razar Nor III. Every child knows that. We need useful local knowledge, not a recitation of a travel brochure. Bah. Well, Heimdallr is divided into 16 main districts. Each district's about as large as a whole town in any of the other empires' provinces. All in all, the city's population hovers around 800,000 people. And you know, I could have told you that earlier, but I only felt it necessary to be voiced out aloud now, so you could have gotten an additional AP at that point, but you didn't. Haha, sucks to be you. Wow, I can already imagine that many people all in one place. Guys wasn't listening. It's one of the continent's largest cities, isn't it? Indeed it is. Crossbell is known for being a thriving center of trade, but its population is only around 500,000. Meanwhile, to the south, Liberl's capital has about 300,000 people. The Republic's capital is pretty big too, but I don't think it's quite as big as Heimdallr. Huh, really? Alright. No, I was just wondering what kinds of tasks we might have asked to do in such an expansive... Oh, I was just wondering what kinds of tasks we might be asked to do in such an expansive city. I can hardly hazard a guess. Ah. Well, we don't know who our point of contact is, or even where we're going to be staying. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up staying in Elliot or Machias' home. I doubt it. My house isn't big enough to put us all up. But Machias' dad is the governor, so maybe we'll be staying at his place. I think that's even less likely. Dad spends most of his time in his official residence, so I doubt anyone's going to be at our family's place. Instructor Sarah said that there would be a guide of some sort waiting for us at the station. She didn't mention who. That's the instructor for you. Honestly, she never really tells us anything, does she? Dr. Elliot. I can't believe our field study dates coincide with the summer festival in Heimdallr. I wonder if this is another one of Instructor Sarah's little schemes? I really wouldn't be surprised. Ugh, can't wait to see what horror awaits us this month. The passenger back there is that lady who is always running around with her father and paying ridiculous amounts of money for stuff. Of course she's not. She's gonna have a different name, but still. That summer festival certainly seems to have caught your attention, though. Is it really that great? Ah, yeah, biggest in the country. There are all kinds of exciting events, including loads of music-related things. Really now, that does sound fun. Hopefully you'll get a chance to drop by our home at some point, too. Who knows? The capital is pretty massive, after all. It's going to be a roll off the dice whether or not we're close enough. I'd really like to see all my friends again, though, if I can. Huh? You seem kinda down. Is something wrong? Nah, it's nothing. I mean, we're going on a field study, not a vacation, right? We can't let ourselves get caught up in the festival atmosphere, or we'll wind up with failing marks. I don't know if I've got the willpower to pull that off, though. Well, all we can do is try. The summer festival at the capital has all kinds of music-related events. It sounds like they're holding their usual big concert this year, too. I can hardly wait. Ah, don't worry, though. I know our field study is top priority. I won't go getting distracted or anything, I swear. Don't worry, I have every confidence in you, Elliot. I know you won't let us down. Alright, Laura. Saint Estraya Girls' School is in the capital, correct? If I'm not mistaken, that's the school your sister attends. Do you think you'll be visiting her? I might if I get the chance. Last time we saw one another was only a few days ago, though. I'd feel kinda awkward going to see her again so soon. I suppose it does stand to reason that even siblings would worry about such social faux pas. Ah, yeah, you don't have any brothers or sisters, do you? I do not. I'm an only child. Although I have been asked by some of the girls I know to regard them as my younger sister. Come to think of it, they're enrolled at Saint Estraya as well. Girls' academies sure sound like interesting places. I hope Elise doesn't get corrupted by our environment. You really are a devoted brother. Or rather, you come across as one who's devoted to most anyone, aside from himself. You think so? I do. Perhaps much of this could have been avoided if I were more like you. She's got a lot on her mind. If only there were something I could do to help them. I think you should visit Saint Estraya if you were afforded the opportunity. I'm certain your sister would be very pleased to see you. So this month field study is in the capital. We certainly won't be staying at my home, but I wouldn't be all that surprised if some of our tasks send us there. Yeah, I guess your dad is a pretty busy man, huh? He'd have to be governing a city the size of Heimdallr. Busy doesn't even begin to describe it. He barely has time to come home most days. And with all the preparations for the festival, I'd be surprised we even saw him, much less had an opportunity to talk to him. It would be a shame. It is what it is. I'll just be happy if we're able to fulfill some requests on his behalf so we can lighten his load a bit. Sure, we'll be all the more happy to help. You and Elliot are going to be the stars this time around after all, so you get to call the shots if you want. Well, it is our hometown. We'll take care of things while we're there. At least in terms of city navigation, we'll be able to show you the way to any facilities you need. Thanks, we'll be counting on you. Elliot and I will take care of things while we're there. Anywhere you need to go, we can show you the way. But we'll be counting on you to take care of Fee and Laura. Why me? Not going to have long to enjoy the journey this time. Yeah, we're not straying too far from Trista. Do you enjoy traveling then? Somewhat. We used to travel a lot in the Corps. I see. Did you spend a lot of time admiring the view through train windows then? Sometimes. We traveled in airships and boats too, but sometimes we were stowed away in cargo holds so we couldn't see anything. It's not like she's deliberately trying to annoy Laura or anything, but I don't think Laura actually wants to be irritated by her either. There's gotta be some kind of common ground, something to help get them through this. What's the matter? It's nothing. It is something. Watching the world through train windows isn't too bad. Though longer journeys give me more time to enjoy it. Alright. Get played, Elliot. Get ready.
Go easy on me, okay?
Oh, I'm not gonna go easy. I'm gonna go as hard as I can. You're still gonna win. Ooh.
Okay then, let's draw.
Ooh, that is gross. My best thing is a 5, and I can revive it twice. He's gonna have like 5 lightning bolts on his hand. I've got 2 mirrors though, so every time he has a really, really good advantage, I can mirror that. First. You gotta be shitting me right now. That's not worth bolting. Good lord. It's gonna get bolted. Oh. No thanks, bud.
Bolt!
No thanks, bud.
Bolt!
Yeah. We're gonna be even in a second, and that's gonna suck badly. I had a 3. Ahead by 2. Can't do that.
Mirror!
You use the mirror for 3? Oh, okay.
I didn't see that coming.
I don't think we can turn this around.
Really? You're playing that now? Really? You're playing that now? The same score means we draw again, right?
Yeah. It all depends on this. Believe in the heart of the cowards!
Well, looks like I'm up first.
Oh, dang it!
I win!
You were up first? Why were you up first? We weren't supposed to. I would have won. But why couldn't you draw again? Bummer. Well, it's too good for me. Fine. I'll settle for someone weak then.
I'm not going to hold back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold back either. Get ready, bud. A 5 is my best card again.
Well
You
then,
gotta
go
be.
ahead and draw. It looks like you're up first. We're even. We'll have to redraw.
Okay.
It looks like you're up first.
Looks like I'm up first, huh?
We're even. We'll have to redraw.
Are you doing this on purpose?
It looks like you're up first.
Are you doing this on purpose? Seriously. I can't get in a position where a mirror is viable. Can't get in a position where a bolt is viable. And, I mean, I can't get in the position where healing is viable.
Mirror!
Are you kidding right now?
Ah, crap. We're even. We'll have to redraw.
Oh, no.
I'll go first then.
A 6.
Now you've done it.
A 6.
Now you've done it.
A 6. Are you doing this on purpose? Seriously. I have to wonder.
Ah, crap.
Oh, man, that was close.
It's mostly luck anyway.
Yeah, luck. Yeesh. Calm yourself, Marcus. Okay, Laura's gonna be easy. She doesn't know.
Let us begin our duel.
She won't know the first thing about Blade. Right, though? Oh my god.
Please draw a card.
Oh, Laura, you're not gonna see the light of day.
Then I'll make the first move.
You're not gonna see the light of day.
Divine Bolt!
It's not divine. It's just a bolt. It's just a bolt, Laura.
Divine Bolt!
It's just a normal card. Don't put a 4 there. She's ahead by through. By 3.
I didn't expect that.
It's worth them.
Mirror!
Can you not? I'm just gonna do that again.
I didn't expect that.
A 5.
Well played.
I don't think that was too well played.
Well played.
Yeah, 6. Get bolted, sons.
Well played.
6. Get bolted.
Well played.
Bam.
I admit defeat. Well done.
Well, there was no... was there a way she could have turned that around? I think if she had had another mirror card, that would have ended very badly. Alrighty. 4 bolts. Good victory. Play Blade against Fee.
Let the battle begin.
And the battle began. I don't think I've...
We draw here, right?
like, we did this 4 times now, and I haven't had a 6, and I haven't had a 7. I feel kind of... I feel kind of bad about myself now.
Guess we'd better draw again.
Yeah.
I'm first. Take this.
Oh, that was a great card, but I didn't actually, you know, get any use out of that. Ah, fine. Nah. Oh, 4 ahead. 4 is worth a
Crap.
mirror.
Take this.
I bet.
Mirror.
Don't do that.
Ouch.
Please don't do that.
Ouch.
This is bad. I've lost. This is bad. This is bad. Oh, nah. She was playing with me.
Looks like I win.
She was playing with me. Ugh. Well, fine. I'm gonna stop talking, but first we're gonna end the episode here. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next episode as well. Until then, toodles!